Hi, this is Dr. Kristie, physical therapist, certified strength and conditioning specialist, and nutritionist. And today I'm going to show you how you can get rid of your carpal tunnel syndrome all on your own. Now, the first thing to remember about the carpal tunnel is that when they really say carpal tunnel, they're talking about this area here where the median nerve gets trapped. Now, it is the median nerve that causes the symptoms of carpal tunnel, but it doesn't, or not only can it get trapped here, but because it actually starts in the neck and runs down and then all the way down through the arm, it can get trapped and compressed anywhere along this nerve pathway and cause your symptoms. So a lot of times people just attack this area right here to try to get rid of the problem, and they don't know why they still have problems because they haven't looked at any of those other areas that might be causing an issue. So again, we're talking about the median nerve. And if you're talking about what this nerve does from a sensation standpoint, this is usually what people feel, is that they'll start to get some numbness and tingling in the palm area, and it actually affects this little pinky finger, the ring finger, the middle finger, and half of the index finger. Now, it doesn't have to be all of those. They can just be part of those. But if you're getting symptoms, in the thumb or over here or on this part of the hand, it's probably a different nerve, and therefore certainly not carpal tunnel. So just keep that in mind as well. We're going to start up from the top and work our way down as far as what treatment techniques you want to try. So when we're talking about the neck, the first part that you want to address are these muscles called your scalene muscles. You can see them, they stick out a lot on my neck, so they're pretty easy to see. But that's one of the first places to start with. And so the first thing we want to do is actually try to get some blood flow going. So I'm going to get all through kind of the front of the neck, my hair's in the way a little, and then also right through the side of the neck with my derma edge here. And again, just trying to get some blood flow going to get those layers gliding a little bit better. Once you do that, then you're actually going to do a pin and stretch or release technique to this scalene muscle. So you're going to press down with your fingers, extend that head, and then turn. And you'll be like, ooh, that's a stretch, and then come back. You're not holding it. It's just pin down and do that motion and come back, okay? Make sure that you're not getting numbness in your hand as you do this, but it might be a little uncomfortable in there. Just be aware of that. Now, along with the muscle, we have what's called our first rib, and sometimes that gets stuck upwards, causing strain and stress again on those scalene muscles or compression right into that nerve. So we want to push that darn thing down. So one of the ways that we can do that is with a pillowcase or a sheet or a towel, but you're taking it over that shoulder and you're pulling down on both ends and then adding a tilt of the head the other way and then releasing everything. Again, we're not holding it. So the key thing to remember about nerves is that they do not like to be stretched. They want to be flossed and glided, but not stretched because that makes them pretty angry. So 10 to 15 repetitions or so. If that is not enough, a little bit more of an aggressive technique is to take a dowel or a broomstick or, I don't know, those are usually the only two things that I usually use, but something with a round end. I'm going to show you on this right side because it'll be easier to see. We're going to take this, put it into the wall, and then I'm going to lie down, and that right in between kind of the neck and the end of the shoulder is usually where that spot is that you want to try to press down. You'll know because it'll feel a little bit uncomfortable. So you're pressing right into that, and I usually need to hold it with my hand. And then you're adding a little bit of arm movement up and down. Again, about 10 to 15 repetitions. And this is definitely a little bit more uncomfortable, so be careful. And again, be careful if there's numbness and tingling here. And that then, like I said, is just a little bit of an advancement of that pillowcase or sheet one that I showed you earlier. So moving on down, we're going to go right into these pec muscles here can also cause those same symptoms. So same idea where we want to get that blood flow going and loosen that up a little bit first. And then with that release, if you kind of dig in right where the front of the shoulder is, coming right into the chest, you'll find it. You're going to do that same idea where you're going to pin down and then bring that arm back. Keep the arm low as you're doing this. So pin it down, move through it. Again, watch the numbness and tingling. Okay. We can follow that up with a stretch. And one way to stretch this that doesn't require any equipment is taking those hands in back of you. And actually, sometimes this alone is enough of a stretch. If it's not, think about just gently bringing those shoulder blades back, and then you can raise those hands up without leaning forward. We want to make sure you stay nice and upright. If you go, ugh, that doesn't feel very good, there's another stretch you can try too. If you find a wall or a door frame or a piece of furniture, you can easily stretch this too. So at about a 90-degree angle, you're leaning gently against it and then bringing your chest forward, not slouching, but bringing that chest forward. Okay. From there, you really want to address that posture a little bit. So this compresses everything and makes that nerve more unhappy. So what we want to do is open it. And an easy way to do that, one of my favorite exercises of all times actually, is little gentle shoulder blade squeezes. So it's literally just taking those shoulder blades and squeezing them together. I think down and back is if you do it really forceful, you're actually going to irritate these muscles. So it's a nice gentle motion. And you cannot be in this position and do this exercise unless you want to look like T-Rex. It doesn't work very well at all, okay? Moving on down the arm, if we look at that even into the bicep and down into the forearm, again, taking and trying to get some blood flow going first. And even though I do have a sweater on, it's definitely crunchy, bumpy there, and I've got some issues with this as well, so that's how I know I need to work on this area a little bit. So once you feel like, okay, well that feels a little better, right, a little looser, then you're going to go ahead and poke around in that forearm until you find, sore spot. Same idea as what we did up here. You're going to hold that down, and then you're going to bring that wrist down and back up. Pin it, bring that wrist down, okay? 10 to 15 usually, but again, until it feels a little bit better, all right? From there, the last one, and you do want to be very cautious on this last one, is called a nerve glide, and it's called a median nerve glide because that's the nerve that we're talking about. So I always have people start with their arm down low so they don't put too much stress on it, but it's turning that arm and then bending the wrist and then letting it go. You should just feel a teeny little bit of something. If it's really painful or tingly numbness, you want to stop. If you don't feel anything, you can go ahead and add a little head tilt to the side and then let go. Remember, nerves don't like to be stretched, so you're not holding this. To advance this, if that feels like nothing, you bring that arm up a little higher, but same idea. And then even a little bit more aggressive would be to press into something so that now you actually are starting to get just a tiny bit of a stretch. Okay? But again, this is a little bit more aggressive, so be very careful on that. And then lastly, or sometimes even firstly, I know I just made up a word, very often what I see with people is that they're typing and they're in this position, or they're sleeping and it's really hard to control what you do in your sleep, and so their wrist ends up like this, and that's going to smush all of those nerves. So this brace by Action Tribex is actually very cool because it's A, comfortable, which is sometimes hard to do, but it can be used for the left or the right wrist, where this little kind of metal plate is, that's the bottom. It just slides on, and it's Velcro, so easy peasy. And it can be washed too. So I'll have people wear this at night when they're sleeping, and if it's really bad, I will even have them use it when they're at work too. So there you have it, a treatment protocol that you can follow right at home or even right at the office to get that carpal tunnel syndrome to go away.